Hello YouTube, I hope everybody's doing fine. Today I decided to make a video during daytime so you will be able to see it better. So anyway, as you can see on the right, I do have a case for the electronics, and I did look into those electrical boxes that normally are used, and they were quite expensive, and I didn't like the idea of just putting the electronics in there, and then I don't even know if they can stand up by themselves or if they do have to be mounted to a wall. So then I figured, why not use a PC case? And that's what I did. I did look around a lot to find a nice one, because I think the CNC lathe does deserve a nice controller box, even though you might just put it underneath a table or somewhere you will not see. But anyway, I did it that way. And I did do a few things to the lathe. I'm still waiting for parts, obviously. And I also wanted to mention that this is my design. I did not copy it in any way, shape or form. There are obviously other lathes out there that do use aluminum profiles. Actually, one commenter said that it's a replica of another lathe being built, and I hadn't seen it, and after I searched on it on YouTube, it is indeed using the same. Actually, mine is 200 millimeters wide, his is 160 millimeters wide, and using the same profiles. And but he has access to a CNC machine, because he is, what I use here as profiles, he is using or making them from scratch from aluminum profiles, not profiles, aluminum plates, like I have here. That is also not a plate but a short piece that I had used on my CNC mill that I built 7 years ago. I cannot believe how fast time goes by. And anyway, I did not copy this from anyone. This is entirely my idea. Obviously, I mean, you're using ball screws, you're using linear rails, you're using a chuck. I mean, it's gonna look similar. But I'm saying it, I did not copy this design from anywhere. And also I had a commenter on the first video, I think, who asked where the original designs are. Yeah, the original designs are in my head. So, and I bought this aluminum profile along with other profiles that are behind there. I think I showed them before. I bought that for a CNC router that I wanted to build after I had sold my mill, but due to financial reasons I never got around to finish it. And in that time I also figured that this aluminum profile, which is 200 millimeters by 80 millimeters and almost a meter long, would be just too heavy to be a gantry. And it would, I mean, I was gonna drive it with NEMA 34 stepper drivers, stepper motors anyway, with 60 volts. But I mean, it's kind of hard to accelerate and stop that and whatnot. I have, in the meantime, found another profile that is used for gantries, and I might use this like that behind the lathe as a vertical milling attachment. So I'm in the designing phase of that. I just bought this 100 millimeter piece, so I have it in my hand to look at it and measurements. I mean, I know the measurements, but it's different if you have it in front of you instead of a 3D CAD file. So anyway, that's that. So And I bought these profiles from Germany. I ordered them from Germany about five years ago. Yes, no, well, 5 6 years ago. I'm not sure yet. But the design I actually made in FreeCAD that I used, yes, that is dated back to 2017. So the design I made 2017, I probably then ordered the parts. So anyway, as I said, I'm still waiting for parts, and let me show you the small things that I did in the meantime without getting my fingers in the picture. Let me switch this to 0.1 magnification. I did install limit switches over here using an L bracket, and that's that. And I can show you, I think it's wired up the other way around. I'm still waiting on this belt, and I don't know if you know, but I always try to make it a clean install. Yes, you can, oh, where is it? You can see a red LED lighting up, so it's in limit. And if I move it back, it's out now. On, off. And I have the same here in the back, and those are securely mounted, they are not going anywhere. I did mount a drag chain for the wires, and having the advantage of a profile, I can actually route the wires through these slots, and that's what I'm doing. And let me see if I turn it around. You can see the wires coming out here for now. They will go, I'm sorry for the shaky video, but I have no other way to do it. They will go in here through the drag chain and then come out the back. I will extend this so I have the wires coming out here. Oh, what I also had to do is flipped the ball screw around. Before it was on that side, but then it was just too short to get the full motion towards the right. So I flipped it around, and that actually also took the stepper motor, this one here, on this side, and I will cover up all the profiles with caps or make a one aluminum plate to cover that end up. Let me also show you the case. It has 4 fans in total, which is obviously overkill. I will probably take 2 out, and those are RGB with RGB LEDs, but it's just you cannot change it, you cannot program it, it's just what it is, like rainbow colors going around. And oh, that's so beautiful. It's mirroring. It has a tempered glass. That's what I wanted, because I did not want it to be acrylic, because acrylic, if you try to clean it up, it will scratch in the end. So from here you can actually see a little bit. I got the inverter in there, controller board, smaller power supply, bigger one is underneath here. 2 stepper drivers, a third one will be added, and for now I have only wired up the VFD, and I have actually the ability to turn the spindle, but I still did not get the back plate. So what I did, and I made a video for Adam. Adam, thank you for all your support and listening to my and reading my long emails and my videos, watching my videos. I greatly appreciate it. So I mounted this thing the other way around, clamped it onto the shaft, and then gave it a go. That's why I also have this plastic sheet over here to catch the oil that was shooting out, and that was just for testing. So do not replicate it, do not do the same thing as I did. And I was afraid to make this thing a projectile, because I didn't want to clamp it down on here like crazy. So anyway, I'm jumping back and forth, but ich red mal wieder, wie mir der Schnabel gewachsen ist, we would say in Germany. So I have now the belts here to drive the spindle, and this was original the place for the stepper motor for the ball screw. That is empty now, but the good thing is I will still put the stepper motor in here and put a pulley here and belt obviously to make this indexing head. So, and then I don't have to take on and off the belts or whatnot, so that will be mounted. I also replaced the thin aluminum that I had here with something thicker and more substantial, and also put here a cap, so all these will be covered up. So that's working. I just finally need to order the backplate. I did find a company here in Bulgaria, and I asked them for a price, and they said they can make it, no problem, but I have to buy a minimum of 50 pieces, and that's like a long lifetime to use those up. I thought about selling them, and I asked again for an individual price, but they obviously thought I will not go into it and didn't even write back. And I really hate companies that just stop responding. I mean, how hard is it to give me a price so I know? And you never know. Maybe I win the lottery, even though I don't play, and buy 50 pieces and sell them individually, or make 50 CNC lathe to sell. So I don't know. Anyway, so I will need to order that from the UK. And yeah, so not much happened here. I did put those profile covers in here. You can just slide them out as you need them, and just to keep it clean. Oh, speaking of keep it clean, I also came up these bellows I made 7 years ago. Something happened in my phone, but still recording, as a test piece and for my CNC mill, but never got to install it. And what my plan is actually to make a L profile. First I folded it with paper to make a L profile, and since I have nice grooves here on the side of the profile, I can just screw it in there, and it will go something like this. And I'm looking, and then I'm putting the phone there, so it will cover the bed and those rails and the ball screw, so that will be nicely covered, so it will not affect any not damage or whatever the ball screw and the linear rail or the blocks. So that's what I will do. I will either do it again with this. I hear you saying if I produce chips here, they are hot and they will most likely burn through this because this is just thin plastic, and you're probably right, it will. But I will either make this as a replaceable or order it from China with the exact dimensions that I need. I will see. I will start with this, and then I will see and go from there. So anyway, that's that. And yes, I do like CAD Soft Eagle, and I did design a backplate for the PC case where normally a power supply would go in, and this is what I have now. And I did actually made one out of thin aluminum, but while drilling the holes, this one went in too far. I used these stepped drills here. Those are all nice, beautiful, but if you're not careful, and it went through further, and then this became scrap. And then I also saw that the USB plug was too close to the edge, so I did change it here and moved it a little further away from the edge, and also the fuse holder. And yeah, and then let me show you how it looks. Obviously I did cover it with black, I hope I don't drop the phone. Very hard to see because it's black. I covered it with black foil so it will look nicer. And okay, let me turn this off. Actually, should have done that 15 minutes ago. I wanted to show you the lights on the blades, on the fans, of course. Silence. So anyway, that's the back plate I did make with all the outputs that I'm gonna have. And I am even thinking, I don't know how many I'm gonna build. I want to obviously sell this and build more, and instead of doing it out of aluminum and covering it up or painting it or whatever, I thought of actually making these out of PCB, and that way it will be, I mean, very easy. And I can also, with the names, obviously here I don't have names, so I would have to look at this while connecting it. I mean, you do that one time, but anyway, I could make these in not printed, but out of the oh man, I'm sorry, I'm sure you have seen my PCBs. Let me show you, find the PCB here where I make my name, like here. Okay, if I get it to focus, sorry again for the shaky video. So here you can say that's actually the substrate of the, not the substrate, the trace of the PCB, so that way it cannot rub off. It's not a solder, it's not a silk string like here. So anyway, that's what I figured I could do here, and then put the names on there and whatnot. I did also order, here I have separate input, separate switch and separate fuse. I did find some smaller connectors which they have all the three things in one thing, in one piece. So I will eventually, well, not on this one but on the next one, redesign it and put that. I did order those and put that one single thing in there. So let me see. What I will do, this control panel you can take out, and I have the wires to extend it, and that will actually be mounted somewhere here along with the emergency stop switch, and maybe even a small display to show the position of the carriage. And I showed before, I have encoders here. You will be able to use this as a manual CNC as well. You will be able to turn it on and off, turn on the spindle, adjust the speed. And since I have a reduction 6:1 here, and this is 400 Hertz spindle with 24,000 RPM, I know, too much, but with the reduction I have maximum of 3000 RPM. I know it's still too much because the chuck can only rotate with 3000 RPM. But you could technically mount a smaller chuck on there if you need the speed, and drive it up to 4000 RPM. And then on the control panel, which does not show the RPM but it does show the frequency, and if it shows like it was before 39.5, that would be, say 40, that would be 400 RPM. So I can just add a 0 to it and then have the actual readout in RPM. I will also, of course, mount a sensor here onto the shaft to pick up the rotation, so I can use this obviously to cut threads. But the main thing is you can use it as a CNC, entirely controlled by your computer, or you can just, if you have something short to make or something small or whatever, and you don't want to program all that into the CAD software, you can just use it manually. So you have that option, and that I haven't seen on any CNC lathe yet. So I might be wrong. I don't, of course, I haven't seen all the what's out there, nor do I look, but that was also my original idea, and that's what I did. And as I said, I will use most likely this profile and make a attachment here and have actually at the same time a small mill. And since it will be mounted with angle brackets, I can actually move it left to right, and I could move it and use it with the indexing head, because the tip of the cutter will be exactly where, oh, hold on, I'm fishing here, it will be in line with the chuck. So that's that. Yes, I did not put a computer in there because everybody has his own, and I will probably run it off this small Sony laptop. I'm not sure. So it does have obviously a USB connector, which is down there. This is the input, and I will also, since I am able to use my pendant with this, and I actually changed the code here, and that pendant does work. I'm using Mach 3. I can adjust the step sizes and move the axis here, and I can also turn on and off the spindle, and the step sizes are adjusted with this encoder here, and it does work beautifully. And to have that pendant next to your machine, I will actually put a USB hub into the case and have the controller connected there. Right now it's plugged in directly over here, and this is a USB connector that I had in there, and I took it out because I didn't want to have that wire hanging on there. That goes in here, and I will put this back in, connect it to the USB hub, and be able to plug in my pendant directly in there. And it does work over that single USB connection because I tried it over here. This is a USB hub to my PC, and I had the pendant connected here and the controller board here, and it worked without a problem. So that I will do too, and obviously wire it up. Oh, what I also first thought, that I will just have the wires coming out of for the steppers and the spindle and the other stepper, and connect it directly to the back side of the controller case. And now I thought I might make another one of these, different shape, different size, and mount it somewhere on the lathe, on the back or whatever, and wire everything up to that board, and then just have wires with both connectors on both sides, and then you can just wire it up here and wire it or connect it to the lathe and connect it to your case. Obviously, I mean, you will do this only once, and I could just run wires out the lathe towards there, but if you're moving it, and I don't want to have any wires hanging, dangling down off the machine, so that would be, I'm sorry, that would be all wired up, and then you can just connect it as you go. So I think this is update, even though I did not have much to show. It's still 25 minutes, time goes by. So yeah, obviously this will be covered up and whatnot, and that's all the small stuff. And I will add, of course, 2 more end stops, not end stops, end stop switches to this axis, so it can home back and forth. And of course, this will be my headstock, tailstock, of course, and that's gonna get built as well. I haven't even thought about that yet because I want to get the lathe first, and now the next big step is obviously the backplate, and I will order that next week. Today is Sunday, tomorrow I will order it, and it's gonna get shipped with DHL. Unfortunately, it will arrive here in probably 2 days most from the UK, and then it's gonna take a whole week for DHL to figure out what to do and write me emails and call me and ask me what it is and what it's for, what I'm gonna do with it. So crazy. And then I have to drive 50 miles, 80 kilometers to actually go to the broker, go to the bank, go to the customs, and then pick up the package. So a 30-pound piece is gonna cost me almost 100 pounds by the end I'm gonna get it. But I was gonna make the backplate myself, but I would have probably done it if this machine would be just for me. But I want to put it up for sale as well, and I figured instead of doing it myself, I just buy that backplate. Obviously I have to have it welded onto the shaft. This is a solid shaft. If I find something suitable for the next machine, I will go with a hollow shaft. This is a 30 millimeters diameter, and so it right now for me, I won't need hollow shaft, but for anybody else that wants to turn round stock, it will be of use. So anyway, I mean, you build something. I mean, I built this thing without actually making a design. I just had that bed profile, I'll call it now, and went from there. I mean, those legs were added later on because I decided to mount the spindle underneath it, so it's compact, it doesn't hang out. I could just had it, put it on the back, but I want this to look nice as well. I don't know, I'm picky like that. You can hate me for it, but that's what I like to do. I try to hide all the wires and whatnot, and over here you can see that you don't see any wires. And there's one small detail. Obviously once it's finished, I'm gonna take it apart and finish off all the parts and polish and whatnot. And I have one small thing that I saw here. I mean, this wire is not moving at all, but I will still file off the edge, because that edge is obviously has a sharp edge or sharp corner, even though it doesn't cut, but it's sharp. So I will round it off, so I have peace of mind that that wire is not gonna rub through it. I mean, it can't, because this thing is solidly on there. It's not moving, the sensor is not moving, and the carriage moves. The top carriage moves and the bottom does only move with this side, left to right. So, but those are the small things that I do think about. And yes, yeah, you see, I mean, you will say, okay, you have a belt turning here, whatever. Dangerous, yeah, if you put your finger in and I mean, then you can also put your finger in the turning chuck and hurt your finger. So, but I will still make an acrylic cover actually, so it will be protected. And I might even make a bellow over here, which I actually should make a bellow here as well. And since again I have this nice channel here that I can just slide in T-nuts and screw it on there, make a bellow, because obviously once you're machining something and go forward with your tool, the rails are exposed here, so there will be obviously there will be a bellow here as well to cover that up, and also in the back obviously. So I think this is it for, I think this was the third update, and I did buy some cables for the connections and whatnot, shielded signal cables and thicker cables for the steppers, and luckily I did find them in black, because I would hate having white wires. I know I'm crazy, but like here for example, I have a white wire here which I will, if I ever use it, replace with a black one. So this is it. If you're still here, thank you for watching. You're probably not, but I know at least one person in this whole universe is watching it, and that's Adam. Thank you for it. And even if you're the only one watching it, it's still fine with me. I mean, if you're interested, you watch it. If you're not, you stop after 2 minutes after hearing my voice. So this is it. Everybody take care of yourself, stay safe, and I talk to you on the next video. Till later.